Welcome to Season 10 of Here's What I Learned. I'm Jackie Hayes, a systems and ops strategist, romance reader, and D&D nerd who's endlessly curious about what makes a business actually work. This season is about experiments. Big, small, accidental, and transformative, because every business is built on trial and error, noticing, and iteration. If you're growing a business that changes with you and you're tired of one-size-fits-all advice, you'll feel right at home. So let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Here's What I Learned. Today I have Bridget Baker once again back with me on the podcast. For those of you who have not listened to the previous episode, I'll make sure to link to it in the show notes. Bridget is brand and website designer and strategist. And when I say that, what I really mean is that she is this person who creates a very safe space to collaborate on figuring out who it is you are, what and who your business is, and how you want to show up in the world. So welcome back again, Bridget.
Thank you. That's like the best description I've ever heard. Can I steal that?
Feel free. It's all yours.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect.
So, Bridget, I asked you on here to give me an experiment. And what is it that you're assigning to me?
So it's the onboarding of a group, essentially. Like, I'm great. I'm being more great about onboarding individuals, right? That's its own thing. But onboarding a group program. So I host a virtual writing retreat 4 times a year. So I think I'm doing it right. And I have screwed it up twice. And I'm like, yes, learning curve. But I'm like, that becomes no longer cute after about screwing it up twice. So just that the process of not only onboarding the tech stuff, not assuming that people understand the tech, not assuming that they're getting an email, not assuming any of these things, and still being able to give them all the same information and get them on the same page. I think as well as, I don't know if I mentioned this, but as well as adding in this component of like different learning styles. I've got a Slack group for this community. Some people are like, cool, I don't even want to be on there. Other people, I want them that want to be on there. I really want them to utilize that tool. So making it inclusive for different learning styles, as well as making sure everybody gets the right links, the right information, all of that kind of stuff.
So we're going to have you do this experiment. I know that your writing community retreat you're launching it again in the start of the new year.
Mm-hmm.
You've run it. Have you run it twice now?
Twice, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what that experiment is going to look like. I know that you and I had a lot of conversations via text message back and forth as to some of the things that you were, or maybe it was Gina. Bridget and I talk on too many platforms.
Yeah, we do.
Get tech. So, like, we talked a little bit about some of the struggles, like you said, like you felt like you screwed up, as you just said. I would always argue there's no screw ups, there's just experiments, so we got results.
Yeah.
I say that for myself more than anybody. But what were some of the things that you are currently defining as screw ups? And then what was some of the conversation back and forth that you and I had?
Yeah. So I think some of the scripts was around like manually having to put in emails, sort of you can export a CSV and import that in. But then just a couple people get added. So you don't have to do the whole CSV, Bridget. You could just manually add their email in because you're smart, right? And I had a typo in one email. I don't even know, someone else I had used the email that they bought the course with, but that wasn't like the best email for them or something. So there was something around just the manual doing of things, and also the messiness of like, how do I know I'm going to get everybody the right email, the onboarding of the email sequence? Like if they sign up the day before, because I keep the card open, if they sign up the day before, will I know that they get all the right emails to be prepared to show up? So I felt like it took about 2 weeks for people to actually really get fully into a month-long retreat because they were still like figuring out, oh, what's Slack? Oh, I'd missed that email. Oh, like whatever. Just all those kinds of things. I didn't feel like people got onboarded well enough to be set up to start on day one, which is what I wanted. I think there was something else around calendar So one of the benefits of the retreat is that, again, if you choose to participate in the Slack, ideally, is that people can host their own impromptu co-writing sessions in this writer's retreat. And it's sort of been like, how do people know someone wants to host one? So we tried all these different tech things. I experimented with everybody because I was like, okay, does anybody want to experiment with me? I'm like, you paid for this thing and I'm not going to force you to experiment, but like, if you're willing, will you? So a couple people tested some things out. We tried Go Brunch, we tried Zoom, we tried Google Meet, we tried all the things. Then I figured out, oh, I can pay more for Zoom, have someone just jump into this Zoom room anytime without me being there. That's great, kind of. But then it was like, as far as a calendar or someone going, oh, let me just add something to our calendar. They were like, how do we do that? And I couldn't figure out how to make that happen either. So it was just like, I say this thing is a cool thing that can happen, and then like the execution doesn't really work for people. So I want to make it like a space where everything works.
Well, and I know a couple of things that we talked about was, like you said, ideally people are in the Slack, but not everybody was. And some of that
Mm-mm.
was because some people had never been in Slack before. And so
Yep.
therefore, and then there's other folks like myself that I know Slack. I know how to use Slack. I just don't ever go in Slack. It's overwhelming. Like it's just another overwhelming thing for me.
Yeah.
And that my personality just can't handle. So I know that we had kind of a back and forth on that. And then kind of the conclusions you kind of came to. I'd love for you to share. But then also
Yeah.
you mentioned like that took 2 weeks for people to get settled in
Yep.
for a month-long program. And I know
Yep.
that you've made some decisions on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So part of that, I think that I decided from us chatting, was starting to already onboard them to Slack 2 weeks before the retreat actually starts. So I think of it like it's a virtual retreat. Part of the point is supposed to be it's like you're going to a retreat. So when people go to a retreat, they usually get there the day before. They have time to like settle in because there might be a flight delay. Like I was trying to think of it like that. So I'm like, they need some like time to get in and get to know each other and chat in there before we start. And even if they don't want to be in Slack, most of the people kind of come and introduce themselves at the beginning. And then even you can even say, hey, I'm not going to be on here much. Like that's completely up to you to say, hey, I still want to participate, but I find Slack overwhelming. You can text me anytime or email me or whatever. Some people have done that. So again, there's something in that. And then I know I had said before, I was like, but Slack is like where everything happens. Like, so I would get disappointed if people weren't in there. So number one, letting go of my own expectations about everybody needs to use this the same way. But there was the benefit of Slack was they get DM asynchronous coaching with me. So if they don't use Slack, they weren't getting the coaching. And so it was a little, I'm like, but like they're missing the thing that's in there. And I feel like I'm not giving them value. And I'm like, no, again, it's up to them. Right. So I added in an element in the future one that it's literally a one-on-one Zoom session at the beginning. So they could just do the Zoom session with me and like do their own retreat. Basically, they could do the Zoom session and show up to every scheduled session. They could be in Slack and do Zoom. I've just tried to create multiple ways for people to do it. And I think my initial thing was like, oh, make it easier for you. Don't do all these different ways. But honestly, I think that is easier for me, is to make it more inclusive. Like versus chasing people down. Like, are you okay? You're not in Slack. Do you hate me? Like, what's happening? Just so ridiculous.
I think too, like there is an argument for doing things in a very productized way of is this container. And then there's an argument for, like you said, making it more functional and accessible for people on a multiple different ways. And a lot of what yours came down to was your expectation of what it should be.
Yeah.
And people were coming into it with their own expectations, that's how things work. And when we onboard clients, we want to make sure that we are quote unquote managing their expectations. Whether that is, this is the specific timeline, you have to be in Slack to get notifications, or you can be in Slack if you want to be in Slack. But if not, that's perfectly okay. And as long as everybody's on the same page, that I think is where the simplicity lies. Because if you have somebody like myself come in and I'll be like, I'm introducing myself, but you're never going to see me here again, then that you don't have to go chase me down.
Yep.
Because I'm just not going to be on Slack and I'll show up to the co-working calls.
Yep.
because that's what I need, etc. So it's in that communication back and forth, which is such a big part of onboarding people. Because I know that you said you wanted to be almost like this concierge
Yep.
experience, this high end. They're not going to like the YMCA retreat. They are going to like a spa retreat, yoga
Yeah.
retreat at a high
Yeah.
end hotel. And so if I'm going to a high end hotel, I kind of want to be able to say, I want to skip that thing because I want to go read my book at this time.
Yep.
But I will be there for my massage. You can guarantee it, type of a thing.
Yep, that's a very good way to put that. Now that you mention it, I'm even thinking of it in different. I have a client that does solo-led travel retreats. So it's like they everybody does their own travel, they stay in their own place, and then they meet up and she like basically talks to them about how to like calm your nervous system when you're solo travel or how to like navigate traveling alone as a woman, like all these different things. But they mostly get to go do their own thing, right? And so they know they have the option, here's when we all meet up. And they still don't have to do that, right? And so I think it's using the language of the onboarding that's like, instead of them being overwhelmed, like, oh my God, there's so many things I have to do. It's like, here are your choices. Here's what you can do. And then continually kind of reminding them, like a reminder that we have this chat. So like if you like, even if you hate Slack, if you want to go connect with someone, that's probably the best place to do it. And then you can go connect with them and go have a chat outside of there. But like that's where you're going to meet them. Like still got to put it on the message board, so to speak, right? At the retreat or something. So which gives me an idea. Ultimately, I would love some kind of like software that creates these different like retreat rooms that are sort of like, now you can go in the social room. Now you can go in the co-working room. Now you can go in there's going to be workshops in this room. And so that it's like actually looks like different rooms of a lodge or something. Like that's my ultimate visual goal of the whole thing.
And that can happen. That can happen. And I find it, you and I have talked about onboarding and lead management and stuff for your website design portion of your business. Because one of the things you struggled with there was, I need to do it a certain way, but my clients don't want me to do it a certain way. Where is that line
Yeah.
where I am providing a good client experience for them and also not making it harder for myself? And
Yes.
it's the same thing because you want to accommodate folks and also you don't want to make it harder for yourself. So giving yourself that leadway before the retreat starts where you can upload an entire CSV file instead of being like, but somebody's showing up 2 hours before the whole thing. I have to input your email. And,
Yep.
oh, oops, I put a period in the wrong spot. There's ways of accommodating both. And again, it's just being upfront with everybody from the very start of what expectations they can have.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to just assume, you have to go, oh, well, I assumed they got the email, or didn't you see the email? Why aren't you on here? Or something like that. So that's what starts to happen. And I found myself like before the first session, I'm like, okay, everybody's not in the first session. What went wrong? And one person didn't get the email. One person, the link, couldn't figure out the link. I don't know what the story was, but it was like, okay, do I need someone? Do I need an actual concierge? Like, am I maybe I'm not the concierge. Like, that's the other thing is ultimately as I grow this and I really want to craft that experience, maybe there is someone that's like the onboarding specialist that tells them where their towels are and where the spa is and where whatever. Like, maybe that's not my job in this. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with that idea. I don't know that that would fix the problem, though. I think it would just be adding another person to the mix.
There's always little things. And I love what this whole conversation shows us is that your business is a continual experiment. And you try one thing and you find where it didn't work. And even if the whole container itself worked, there's little pieces and parts that you're always going to want to improve. So you'll make these changes with the next one in the start of the new year, and you're still going to be like, well, I could do this a little bit differently. Or if I adopt this piece of software, will do this. And there's always something
Yeah.
that you're going to learn from. There's something you're always going to tweak. And that's just kind of the approach to running your own business.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And I think the other thing is you can't I keep trying to please everyone. And so I keep like moving the needle, like, oh, let me make sure it's accommodated for that person and that person and that person. And I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this just isn't for everybody. That's the other thing is because I know I've signed up for things and gone, oh, other people are getting a lot of value out of this. And I find it totally overwhelming. Okay, what's up with that? Like maybe this is not because of the platform they chose to host it on, I didn't like. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to be a part of this anymore if I don't like the platform and they're married to it and like, bye. Yeah. So you're not going to please everyone. Just keep learning, keep fine tuning, all of that. But yeah, just to onboard a group, I just learned was so different than onboarding one person.
Yeah, a lot of folks think, oh, I'm going to do what I do with my one-on-one. I'm just going to do it with more people. And there are so many more elements to that and so many more moving parts that you really have to take your time to stop and be like, okay, if I am onboarding 20 people, what's that going to be like versus onboarding no one person?
Yeah. And some people or in the last one, I did two of them kind of in a row. I did one in August, one October. Some people had already been to the first one. So they were already like familiar with each other. They already knew each other. And I'm like, that's a good thing, right? Like they're going to help orient the other people, right? And it didn't totally work out like that. So I want to make sure new people coming in don't feel like outsiders. So I try to create ways to make those people feel included. I'm always kind of looking, every group I'm in, I'm always looking to like include people. Like, don't assume that these people know this private conversation over there. Like, fill them in. And that's always important to me. So it's not, it's the tech parts, the inclusive parts, and you just kind of want everybody to be on the same page when you start and to know what the expectations are. And even, it comes even, I think, from the selling, because I think you had managed something like, oh God, if I had to be on Slack the whole time, forget it, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, oh God, does it sound like that? Okay, let me change the wording.
And that's part of the conversation we had back and forth was like, do you expect them to be on Slack? And does it say that on your sales page? And then that's where you were like, okay, going for a walk. I need to think through something.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I'm thinking, well, because it was set up for the coaching to be in there. I'm like, okay, it's like they're not getting the coaching part, but they paid for the coaching part. So, but that's on them. Like I have to remember that is on them. And I have to keep
Bridget,
reminding them it's still here.
It's here for you if you want it. Bridget, I can't wait to talk to you again when you've onboarded your next group in the start of the new year. It's currently December of 2025. Yep. So you'll be hosting again here shortly. We'll have you back on to talk about how that went and what lessons you learned with that new experiment. Yay. And folks, I will also be having Bridget back on in the future because she's going to give me an experiment to try based on a lot of the work that she does. So keep listening and you will be able to hear the results of this experiment as well as the experiment that Bridget gives to me. Bridget, where can people find you and learn more about your writing retreat?
Really at Bridget Baker Branding, but on Instagram at Bridget Baker Branding, I talk about it a lot. So that's really the biggest place I talk about it.
And all those links will be in the show notes. So for those of you who are driving or walking right now, you can just click when you get back and take a look. I highly recommend. She also hosts Write Shit Mondays, co-working time every Monday. So make sure you check that out. It's a lot of fun. It's a great space to get some stuff done, as well as meet some interesting and awful. That's not what I'm expecting. Awesome people. It's been a long day.
I bring you all the awful people, right?
Yes. Yay! So go check that out as well. Thank you so much for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks again for spending time with me on Here's What I Learned. If this episode gave you something useful to try, rethink, or explore, the best way to support the show is to follow and leave a review. That helps more curious business owners find their way here. And if you want more real talk about the experiments that shape our businesses, plus practical, doable system ideas, join my email list. I send 1 to 2 emails each week with stories, insights, and strategies that help you build a business that supports your life, not the other way around. You'll also get updates on workshops, new offerings, and the things I'm learning as I experiment alongside you. Until next time, keep experimenting, keep paying attention to what those experiments tell you, and keep building a business that fits you.